Everyone seems to want a book, and there are some good books. But you can't read or pray your way out of this. You were likely wounded in a relationship, and that's where you'll find healing. In the context of safe community groups, you must focus on 4 areas. 1. Confront denial. You can go to a group and talk about struggles with work or alcohol, but when you say you struggle with sexual issues, it clears the room. There's so much shame around this topic. We feel the need to hide our sexual struggles, so we learn to hide from and deceive even ourselves. Commit to honesty at all costs. 2. Understand the nature of the battle. There is more knowledge about how the brain works now than ever before. Sexual addiction is not just a moral problem, it is also a brain problem. We are not merely making a poor moral choice when we choose to indulge in sexual sin. A powerful chemical neurotransmitter called dopamine, or the gotta have it molecule, is released in our brains when we view porn or act out sexually. We can develop a brain problem with moral implications that can't be healed by moral solutions alone. We cannot just read our Bibles more, pray more, or attend more small groups. We must be transformed by the renewing of our minds, and we must find healing for our wounds. So where is healing found? 3. Access the wound that makes you return to unhealthy addiction. We live in a broken, fallen world. You can grow up in a perfect family with tons of support and still get hurt. Some people can process their pain relationally with others, but many of us can't do that. We don't know how. We find ways to numb our pain, and those can become addictions. Ultimately, you must go on the journey of exploring your own life and ask, where have I been wounded and how do those wounds affect me today? Have you been hurt by abuse? Divorce? High school? If we don't identify these wounds, we'll end up treating the symptoms rather than the root problems. You must explore your own story with safe people. Discover where you've been wounded and allow yourself to process that pain. Then you can find healing. 4. Practice preventative accountability. If you don't know how to do accountability well, you'll find yourself in relapse over and over again. You fail, you confess and pray. You fail, you confess and pray. Eventually, you stop being so transparent because it's simply not helping. Begin looking at the circumstances around you and identify stressor, such as marriage, work, or finances. Look for the triggers, and then choose to stay in the pain and process it with others rather than trying to numb it with porn or other addictions. Be watchful when you are hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Halt. Talk with your accountability group about what you desire when you are in these states. Process ways you can respond better together. Be relational with your pain. The biblical idea of weeping with those who weep and rejoicing with those who rejoice, Romans chapter 12 verse 15, is a learned skill for many of us, and it takes practice. Let others into your pain, celebrations, joy, live life in color with close friends rather than just keeping things on the surface. There is hope. You can find lasting freedom. But you won't find it alone, with just you and Jesus. Breaking isolation and learning to ask for help, that's where trust is built and freedom is found. This journey is difficult, but I'm now walking with integrity and purity, and you can too. The first step in this journey is that we must trust the only one who can conquer sin, Christ. In the midst of your struggles, remember that confronting denial is crucial. It's the first step towards honesty and healing. Gather the courage to share your deepest challenges with others who will listen without judgment. As you begin to describe your feelings, the tightness in your chest may loosen, and for the first time, it can seem like someone truly understands the weight you carry. Acknowledging your sexual issues can evoke shame, but being vulnerable in a compassionate community invites growth. Slowly, you're learning that it's okay to voice what you've buried deep within. Lean into those connections, share your truth, and commit to this journey of healing together. In this second phase, understanding the nature of the battle is essential. This isn't merely about exercising willpower, it's about confronting a genuine challenge that involves both psychological and physiological elements. Research indicates that sexual addiction alters brain chemistry, creating an insatiable urge linked to dopamine release. When we engage with pornography or act out, we might mistakenly attribute this behavior solely to moral failure. However, it is critical we recognize that we are grappling with a problem that has deep roots in our biology and psychology. We cannot expect to overcome these compulsions through moralistic approaches alone. Instead, we must seek a fundamental transformation, one that renews our minds and hearts. This transformative journey calls for intentional efforts to understand how these neural pathways were formed and how they influence our behaviors today. The shame that often accompanies these struggles can be disheartening, isolating us further. Therefore, arming ourselves with knowledge about our brains, and the addiction itself, becomes an empowering step. We need to understand our struggles not just as personal failures but as complex challenges that can be addressed with the right tools and support. By equipping ourselves with this understanding, we lay a stronger foundation for healing. Our wounds shape our responses, making it vital to access the wounds that lead us back to unhealthy addictions. Reflecting on your past can surface painful experiences, whether from abusive relationships, divorce, or instances of bullying during your formative years. It's essential to confront these past pains head-on to prevent them from undermining your present and future. Engaging in discussions with trusted individuals in safe, communal settings offers a genuine opportunity to process these emotions. The journey requires diligence. You must explore your narrative with patience and sincerity. This exploration isn't merely about remembering, it's about understanding how these experiences have molded your reactions and choices today. Embrace vulnerability, allowing yourself to feel discomfort as you unpack the layers of your history. Sharing these stories creates pathways for healing, ensuring that the symptoms of your struggles won't go untreated. As you delve into these memories, you're engaging in an act of reclaiming your narrative and discovering the profound importance of your feelings. Trust that the effort you invest in accessing these wounds will be rewarded with clarity, understanding, and ultimately, healing. To cultivate preventative accountability, you must first acknowledge the patterns leading to relapse. Recognize the moments when you feel vulnerable, hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, and proactively engage with your accountability group. Discussing these triggers openly breaks down the barriers of shame and secrecy that isolation often builds. By sharing your desires and potential responses, you not only arm yourself with strategies but also deepen your connections. This collaboration fosters a sense of community, enabling you to navigate life's pressures collectively rather than in isolation. Being relational about your pain and triumphs creates a rich tapestry of support where everyone grows. Ultimately, learning to express your challenges within a caring circle shifts the focus from shame to healing, reinforcing that you are not alone on this journey. Together, you can practice empathy, ensuring that the road to recovery is marked by grace and understanding, leading you towards lasting freedom and integrity. This journey towards healing requires openness and courage to share vulnerabilities, which often brings discomfort but ultimately fosters trust. As you engage with your accountability group, develop a deeper understanding of your triggers, and recognize the moments when the urge to retreat into old patterns arises. You create an environment where honesty thrives. In this space, empathy becomes your ally, enhancing connections and reminding you that everyone has a story filled with struggles. By embracing the discomfort together, you find strength in vulnerability, and as you communicate your needs and desires, you begin to dethrone the shame that kept you isolated. Remember, healing is not a solitary path, it is a collective experience where compassion flourishes, and the burden of secrecy is lifted. This transformative journey, though challenging, offers the promise of freedom through shared vulnerability and accountability. While navigating this complex journey, it's crucial to lean into the discomfort and recognize it as part of the healing process. Sharing your struggles in a community means allowing others to witness your journey, fostering trust and deeper relationships. You learn that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's a powerful catalyst for growth. Together, as you face these challenges, you can find freedom beyond shame and isolation. As you engage with this support network, remember that healing is an ongoing process that requires patience and commitment. Embrace the moments of triumph as milestones on this journey, and trust that lasting freedom is not only achievable but also nurtured through your willingness to be vulnerable and transparent with one another.